We see the move that we face. No one can do this alone.
It's a real hero, Joe. Both my sons are heroes.
Central City, the name's Kid Flash. Yo, hey, that's what? My suit goes there. That is a conundrum.
I don't know what the future holds, none of us. We will face it together, hand in hand.
Hey YouTubers, happy 2017, new Flash footage, so let's break it down. There is a new round of the Flash Ring giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this video. Be sure to click that bell to enable alerts so you don't miss anything. Just because that footage is kind of janky, a couple minutes after this uploads, I'll add subtitles to make it a little bit easier. But number 10, Caitlin telling Barry he can't do it alone. She's talking about Savitar mostly, like what's happening right now, but really it's a generality. Like, you cannot take everyone's problems on by yourself. You need the team, Team Flash. So that's a big U-turn from where she was a couple episodes ago when she was becoming Killer Frost. She was the one that was pushing the team away. So the whole idea here is that Team Flash is like the most important thing, them staying together, working together. So obviously a big part of the drama the back half of the season is in people pushing other people away. Like, just to borrow Flash puns, people going rogue. They worked really hard in the first half of the season to give everybody their own problems, like Cisco's dealing with the grief from the death of his brother, so Caitlin is becoming Killer Frost, she has to deal with that. Even Joe has his own stuff going on besides his most of his story revolves around Iris and now Wally that he's on the show, but he also has Cecile, so even he has his own stuff going on. So those things start to become really big and pull people away from the group, and the rest of the group has to come together to bring them back into the fold. That was kind of what the Killer Frost episode was about. Like, Caitlin was freaking out, not telling everyone, keeping secrets, and it started to drive her away from the group, but they were able to bring her back. So now she's the one giving that speech to Barry. You can't do this by yourself. So number 9, next little bit, Barry voiceover talking to Wally and Joe, both explaining that protecting Iris is the new mission. Now, he's mostly talking to Wally when he's saying this. You have all these powers, but what you need to remember is that Iris is the mission. So it sounds like while he's telling Iris in the other trailer, like about the future about her dying, so we might come clean and tell Wally, but based on the other footage in the trailer, it sounds like Wally doesn't know, and that's why he's so happy, because he'd probably be super bummed out if he knew his sister was going to die in the future too. So this is like Teacher Barry trying to push Wally in the direction that he wants him to go without giving him all the information, which of course is going to fail miserably. If you've learned anything from watching Arrow, it's that keeping secrets from the group always blows up in your face. So also to loop this back around to the Joe part where Joe's talking to him about still being part of his family, being his son, Barry again in his grief is like slowly being driven away from the group, although largely it's his own fault because, Wally is like a real big deal this season, so Joe, being his biological father, is going into overdrive trying to make up for lost time. So Barry's feeling like the odd man out, it's driving him further away from the group. Joe's just reminding him in this footage, hey, you're part of the family, you're both my sons. Number 8, next little bit, Wally capturing Plunder in front of what looks like a group of cheerleaders. This footage might be out of order, but it just seems like he's basking in the glory of being a newly minted speedster. Like, I just got a brand new car, so I'm gonna tear it up all over town. This is so much fun. So it definitely sounds like he doesn't care about Iris, because like Barry's walking around with all this on his shoulders, so he's super bummed out, super stressed, and Wally is just riding high because this is all brand new for him. So he's like Barry back in season 1 right after he got his power, just having the time of his life, just trying to figure it out, just having fun. Which causes problems, number 7, because he's not like totally thinking it through, dumps his suit, like he runs in, dumps his suit in Barry's spot, then runs back out, pissing Barry off like, hey, that's my spot. So more friction in the group. You look at Cisco, he's like, I don't know what to do, this is awkward. Caitlin probably has a similar look on her face. Like when you see 2 of your other friends start to fight and you don't really know how to handle it. But just remember, this is like the beginning of the back half of the season. This is all drama that I think will help catalyze Team Flash before they're able to take down Savitar. The whole idea is that you can't defeat Savitar by yourself, you need the family, but this stuff happening right now is like the hurdles that they have to jump through, and it's going to be way bigger than this. It's not like just Wally and just Barry and just Jay Garrick are going to be able to defeat Savitar. So we'll talk about that in a second because it involves the other Flashes of the multiverse, which is a really big deal. But number 6, Cisco and Kid Flash bonding more than Barry and Cisco bonding. So Cisco forgave Barry for sort of causing Flashpoint and seemingly killing his brother. Like, he blamed Barry. You caused Flashpoint, my brother was alive, now he's dead. So then over the course of the 4-night crossover, Cisco caused some of his own problems, so he sort of forgave Barry, like, we made the Dominator's threat that much worse, so now I understand why Barry did what he did. He was trying to make things better when he actually ended up making things worse. So I don't think there's any way that Cisco would ever just push Barry out, but I do think that Wally's excitement is sort of infectious and Barry's being like a huge bummer right now. So sometimes within a friend group, if one of your friends is being like a super bummer, you just don't pay quite as much attention to them. So I think that's all that's going on right here. But number 5, a little bit bigger, Plunder's robbery that lands him on Team Flash's radar. That's sort of like the big mission of episode 10, like the big new villain. Like, hey look, it's a new Flash rogue. So on the surface, it's just a simple bank robbery. They capture him, they stick him in prison. But then you remember the flash forward in episode 9, where they give him the name drop in that news broadcast. He's getting ready to stand trial. The reason I think they included that name drop is just to sort of give you a bookend for where this endpoint is, just to help you chart it in time mentally. This is the beginning. So now you know the beginning and the end of this new sort of self-closed time loop that Barry is going to try and mess with. So all the stuff in between is what he's going to try and change. So remember, he's going to try and go back to the future to change it again. That's going to be one of the first things that he tries to do. So when we go back, or however many times we go back to that future point, just listen for the broadcast and see if any of that changes with the Plunder talk. So I'll play it right here. This is the initial version.
In other legal news, the highly publicized trial of Jared Murillo, aka Plunder, comes to a close. Murillo was found guilty of grand theft and aggravated assault after he was caught by the Flash robbing the Central City Museum earlier this year.
Don't!
So when we go back, see if they replay that and it changes in the way that the future newspaper that we saw all across the first couple of seasons changed. So they brought it back during the 4-night crossover, the time vault is back. They're just little tricks they use to help let you know that things have changed, even if characters on screen don't necessarily say that. So just be looking for clues when they retread old ground, coming back to the same point, but somehow things are different just a little bit. So number 4, another big WTF, Iris West walking up to a gun barrel looking like she's daring this person to shoot her. This doesn't look like Plunder, so it looks like it happened somewhere else in the episode. But the promo had that text that flashes over the screen, powers or no powers, the hero lies within. So this is just meant to be a heroic moment for Iris, stopping this person from doing whatever he's doing. This might have something to do with the Plunder bank robbery, but Plunder usually works alone, so we'll see where it leads. But you have the idea that she knows that she's going to die. How is she going to choose to face that? So she's gonna have to find a way to be a hero even though she doesn't have powers. So they're using a lot of metaphors in these trailers. But number 3, then Barry tells her we'll face it together in a different scene, which is kind of in opposition to what they're saying in the rest of the footage in the trailer. But we know that Barry tells her that she's going to die, so she probably starts to freak out. This is probably him just trying to reassure her, we'll face it together. But you know from the other footage in the trailer that he's slowly pushing the team away. That's why they have to remind him, we have to do this together. Otherwise, the team wouldn't need to have that conversation with Barry. But again, all of this doing things as a family, doing things together, is mostly speaking about the Savitar stuff in the short term. In the broader sense, it's just the idea that, Barry, being a god, doesn't need to take all of the world's problems on by himself. So that's one of the things that he still hasn't really figured out in the last couple of seasons. He's learned a bunch of new tricks. He's learned what not to do when he goes back in time, thanks to Jay Garrick, just yoinking him out of the time stream. Hell no, kid, don't you dare try to change the past again. But for all of season 2, it was all about getting faster and faster, using the Tachyon device so that he could defeat Zoom. But this season, the big twist is they presented him with a problem in this Savitar conundrum that he can't solve by just getting faster. Just getting faster isn't going to help save Iris. So that's part of the big lesson he has to learn. But number 2, more Caitlin stuff. So they've said that Killer Frost is going to be really big in the back half of the season. The producers are like, oh yeah, we have like a really big story coming for her. So because her big thing is in trying to hide her abilities, trying to suppress them, it makes sense that in ignoring that problem, it'll eventually become so bad that she can't ignore it anymore. So we know every time she uses her powers, she becomes a little more Killer Frost, and you can't reverse it. Is that going to be season 4 Caitlyn? Is she just going to walk around being super glammed up all the time? I would love that. I love the look of Killer Frost. They changed it a little bit each season, but even if they did want to do that, Harrison Wells has a device for masking your appearance. So if she wanted to, she could actually walk around as normal Caitlyn, even if she were full-blown Killer Frost. So there's still a number of directions they could take this. So you guys can let me know in the comments. Do you actually think she'll go full-blown Killer Frost again before the end of the season? But the number one big deal, and this is actually a really huge deal from the comics, is the idea of the other Flashes of the multiverse in the idea of the larger Flash family. So when you're talking about the Flash family, you're mostly talking about the good speedsters on Earth 1. We have Barry, we have Jay Garrick, now we have Wally, and Jesse Quick. So for now, they are the Flash family. Probably pretty powerful if they were to ever work together. But then you have the idea of the other Flashes of the multiverse, and even though they're not literally family, they all share this sacred bond that makes them family. So what I'm hoping they get to is, it's a bit of a Grant Morrison twist, is that you have this multiverse Justice League idea. Now they're not going to do multiverse Justice League, but think about multiverse Team Flash working together to take down Savitar. Because Jay Garrick, as he tells it, like the legend of Savitar, he just goes around to different worlds, sending heralds, and then killing, whatever speedster challenges in there. So now that Barry is powerful enough, Savitar has sensed him through the Speed Force and is like, oh, here's a threat that I need to get rid of. So he sends Dr. Alchemy, and now you have Flash versus Savitar. So this isn't just happening on Earth 1. This has happened on countless other Earths of the multiverse. And because Savitar exists in this pure energy state, he doesn't really age, so he could just do this for the rest of time. So what do you do when you have a bunch of Flashes that by themselves are not powerful enough to take down this super god of speed? Well, you have to team up. Multiverse Flash family. So this image right here of them all working together, this is from Grant Morrison's Multiversity. But even if you just look at Jeff Johns' old Flash Rebirth, towards the end, they all team up, they're all running together. You get this image here. I think we're working towards something like this at the end of the season. So let me know in the comments, do you think that we're going to see a Team Flash, like Flash family, versus Savitar by the end of the season? Because they keep saying in this trailer that you can't do it by yourself, meaning you have to do it with a team. And what better team is there than the Flash family? But what's going to happen later tonight is I have a new Arrow Prometheus video, so I'll announce the Flash Ring giveaway winner in that. While you guys wait for that to post, you can click here to watch the other Flash trailers that I posted, and you can click here for the Arrow trailer. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.